What up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Welcome to another episode of the Grid and Grind Show brought to you by the In Off the Bench Podcast Network. Today, we are talking to Jessi Kuhlman. She is a member of the Southwest Florida Sharks. She's been a Grid League vet for a few years. So we're going to talk to her about her backstory. We're going to talk to her about how she got into Grid, but inevitably, we got to talk about 2025 because, I mean, we are a day away and a month away. So a month and a day away from the start of the season where it's going to be a big rematch from last year's championship, the Sharks taking on the Wild. So we'll get to all that. But before we do, we got to plug the best sponsors in the game. Old Dominick Distillery. Experience 150 years of tradition in the heart of downtown Memphis. From bourbon to vodka, whiskey to gin, Old Dominick's got you covered. Stop in a day for a tour or just pick up your favorite bottle. Chinook Seeds, whether you're on the field or in the boardroom signing deals, Chinook helps you get the job done. 8 flavors, mild to wild. Go to your local gas station, convenience store, grocery store, and pick up the best sunflower seeds in the game. And finally, Jesus One Apparel, empowering men, women, children take a bold step in their faith by reliving and embodying the message of John 16:33. Jesus won and continues to win each and every day. And with that, we got to get to it. So help me welcome on to the show with the biggest interview in podcasting this week, Southwest Florida Shark star, Jessi Kuhlman. Jessi, what up? What up? How we doing?
Good. How are you doing?
I am blessed. I
Yeah,
tell everybody that asks me, and I
yeah.
appreciate everyone asking me, when my 2 feet hit the ground, that means something special's happened. That means
Amen.
I've been able to be given another day. So here we
That's the
are.
best way to look at it.
I'm telling you, I
It
mean,
really is.
you got to have a glass half full. You got to have some silver linings in your life. If not, it could be a tough place to be.
Life's
But
tough.
um, I appreciate you joining us. I really want to dive into your story. Your backstory is
Yeah.
unique in a sense because I've never talked to anyone that's played women's hockey. So tell
Yeah.
me about Merrimack women's hockey. Obviously,
Oh
you're an
gosh.
alum. You're
Yep.
hardcore. Like, what is it like playing hockey? Is that something that you grow up into? And if so,
Yeah.
like, where do you grow up, and like, where do you like who like leads you down the path to get into hockey?
Yeah. That's a great question. So it's funny because you're like women's hockey, but a lot of my story started out playing a lot of boys hockey, which it's kind of funny just like looking at my life now and seeing how like that kind of taught me so much, like being the only girl and kind of like always being like a little bit of a standout. Sometimes not always in like the best way because you feel like as a girl with all the boys all the time, like I don't know, like there's just a different connotation that kind of goes with that.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I started playing hockey because my brother played hockey and there was a rink. I'm from Maryland originally, so my parents put us in every sport possible. I have 3 other siblings, so there's 4 of us. So we learned how to skate, learned how to swim, we learned how to do everything. We did gymnastics. And then I really liked skating, and they were like, "All right, you can figure skate or you can play hockey." And I was like, I want to be like my brother. Like, I want to play hockey. Like, that's cool. And then little did I know what I was signing my parents up for because they sacrificed so much time and money to drive me literally all over the country, even to Canada a lot. I spent a lot of weekends as a kid just grinding, and my parents would drive me to Pennsylvania. I played a lot of hockey in Pennsylvania, and then I would go to like Michigan. I would go to Minnesota. I would go to Boston, Canada on the weekends, and just play tournaments to kind of get in front of um, teams. And then eventually got picked up by Merrimack, which was like a super last minute. I was actually committed to a Division 3 school originally, Adrian College, and last minute got the opportunity to play D1, and I was like, this is my dream. Like, this is everything I've ever wanted. The UConn coach told me that I would like never play Division 1, had no potential. He's like, I'll put you on the team, but like you'll just sit in the stands. And that like crushed me. And I just kind of put my head down and said, either way, like I'm gonna become the best athlete I can. And if I go D3, I'm gonna try and become the best Division 3 player I can. Um, and be the best teammate, be the best athlete overall. And then I got the opportunity to go to Merrimack and be part of their first ever team, which was
Nice.
very hard. Very, very hard. But our first game was like sold out, which was like super cool. And then from there, it was just a battle with, a team of mostly freshmen. To our senior year, we made playoffs. Um, we lost in the first round of playoffs, but it was a very tough 4 years. Just a battle every single time that I stepped on the ice, and just a lot of adversity and learning. And it really taught me how to be a good teammate and how to just kind of put one foot in front of the other. And like you kind of say, like, be grateful. Like, I wasn't even supposed to get the opportunity. So to get the opportunity was something I was grateful for every single day.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to a lot of athletes. I've coached a lot of different levels of baseball, and
Yeah.
you hear so many stories from athletes, and it's amazing to me how a coach could tell someone like you're never going to play. And I get it. Like there's some business to it.
Hmm.
But to crush somebody or to take someone who is like you're a kid, like
Yeah.
you're trusting in these people to give you the confidence at some point,
Yeah.
obviously talk to you real. But did you like when you look back on it, do you appreciate the coach being so like blunt about it, just being like, you're not gonna play? Because it kind of forces you, okay, well, if I'm not gonna play, fine. I'm gonna go somewhere where I can. Like
Yeah. I
it's
mean,
gotta be
I appreciate his honesty. Like, in the moment I was like, wow, like that hurt because I felt kind of led on, and it's a business at the end of the day. Like, I went to his camp. I paid with my own money to go to his camp, and then at the end of camp he was like, yeah, have your family come up and we'll talk at the end, kind of hyping it up to this big thing. So my expectation was that I was going to be signing at the end of camp, not crying at the end of camp. And I cried, I'll be honest, like it hurt really
yeah.
bad. And he was like, do you want a hug? And I was like, no.
Oh,
Like,
don't
but
don't talk to me.
recruiting, yeah, recruiting, it feels honestly a lot like dating. Like, you have, and meanwhile, you're a high school student that's trying to train and do all this on top of school, and on top of, like, I was taking like early college classes to make my college life easier. Um so like I was doing a lot of different things, and it really it really hurt, like, looking back. But it was just one of those things that I'm just so fortunate for my mom and my dad just, believing in me. And the thing that they always told me was, you don't have the opportunity to be on the ice every single day. And all these girls that live in Minnesota and they go to prep school, they have the opportunity to be on the ice every day. So like their potential is only here. Whereas like you have all this potential. And like the coach literally said, he was like, you're the hardest worker I've ever met, but you're never gonna play on my team. And I was like, those two words just like don't line up to me.
Yeah,
And then funny story is, my junior year, my coaches at Merrimack surprised me and I started against UConn, which was really cool. So
get them.
it wasn't like obviously it hurt, but it was one of those things that, like, I don't hold grudges on people, and I don't think that I'm not fueled by anger. I'm fueled by, like, I want to become, the best athlete, the best person, the best, like, that's what motivates me. And it's all supposed to happen how God wants it to happen. And that was just pointing me in the direction of, like, I'm going to save you from this circumstance where you might not ever get to dress. And I'm going to put you here. You're going to have to fight, but, like, I'm going to put you here, and this is going to take you down this road.
What is being grounded in your faith at that particular moment do for you? Do you do
Everything.
you do you question like to me,
Yeah.
like I feel like I would question like why? Like why is
Always.
this happening? You
Yeah.
know?
And I didn't even know, because I didn't really gain my, like, faith and relationship with Jesus until college. I was growing up, I was Catholic, and I just didn't really, I did it, like, I did the things, but I didn't understand because I didn't have the relationship. But I always believed in God. I knew he was there. And I remember in Bible study literally writing, like, why? Like, why does God do this? Like, why? And that's a big question for everybody. Um and it just goes back to, like, sometimes in the moment you don't have to understand, but, like, what are your other options?
Right.
Like, I can go this route and just not have him on my side. But, like, if I go with him and I trust him, I don't know what's coming next either way, so I might as well trust him and take the next step. um and just kind of lean into it. Like, you're allowed to be upset. You're allowed to like grieve with him. And I did. I definitely did, because I was just like, this is so frustrating. Like, so much of my life I felt like was building up to this moment, and now it's just gone. Like, I literally didn't think it was going to happen. And since I was 12 years old, I was like, I'm going to play Division 1. It's going to happen. Um, and then I got denied. Like, I was supposed to play at Plattsburgh. They called me last minute and were like, just kidding. Like, we signed somebody already. I was supposed to play at another school. Oh, you have to take a PG year. Like, it was just like hit after hit after hit. And it like got comical at one point, because I was just like, all right, like, I don't know what's gonna happen.
It's like you're
Um,
afraid to answer the phone. It's like
I
I'm not
was.
I'm not gonna answer.
Yeah, I was, but and again, it's hard in the moment, but this is how you build faith, is like through experience and learning that like you don't build faith through the good moments and through the easy things. Like, the harder that your road is, the more that that's going to lead you to victory in your life, and just understanding like God had my back that whole time, even when I turned my back on him sometimes, you know?
It's awesome to be able to start something at Merrimack and build
Yeah.
it, because
Yeah.
nobody's going to be able to take away the fact like you were the first,
It
like,
was so
and that,
cool. Yeah.
and I'm sure it was a struggle and it was tough. Like
So
I've
hard.
I've
Yeah.
rebuilt teams and had to, retool rosters, and it's not an easy process, but it's usually a very like rewarding and fulfilling process when it's all said and done.
Hmm.
Um, so let's talk about fitness. All right. So
Okay.
does fitness come into play like as you're in hockey, or does fitness come into play after that?
But it came in pretty much right away.
Yeah.
So I did like a hockey camp in the summers when I was 12 years old is when I started. And I mean, I was a gymnast too. So like I already did, like, conditioning is very similar actually to like just like a body weight CrossFit workout. I was always very strong, but not very flexible at gymnastics. So that was kind of something I always knew as a kid. I was always strong, and I always had broad shoulders. I just didn't know how to like rock them, I guess. I felt like Bambi sometimes because I grew so much, but then I filled out. So yeah, so I started lifting when I was literally 12 years old. Like, I was benching, and I was lifting with boys. So like on top of it, like, I'm trying to keep up with the boys, and it's kind of funny because girls can be a little bit stronger than the guys because we hit puberty before them. So I was like outlifting the boys like from day one. And then I was like, then I would start to kind of push back and forth with them because it would get competitive. And then I found CrossFit because, again, my brother had done it. He was smaller and played hockey, and he did CrossFit, and he was throwing these big guys around. Like, and we were like, what is he doing? And it was because of CrossFit. He was so strong on the ice. So I joined a CrossFit gym with a group on, and immediately I was like, this is where I belong. Like, I feel normal for once. Like, those
Yeah.
girls have big shoulders, those girls have big legs. Like, and it was like, it was the first time it was like cool to be like strong and beautiful. And I was like, this is awesome. And I already had the gymnastics background. So I was like, I can do a lot of this stuff. I just need to like figure out a bar muscle up and not a glide kip, and we'll be good. Like,
I mean, it is what it is now. I mean,
yeah, I
whatever
don't
it
even know at
takes
this
to get
point.
up there. That's the way I look at it. So when you go into a CrossFit gym, do you like, obviously you have this kind of like out of body experience knowing, oh my God, like this is for me, but
Yeah.
did you die during the workout? Like I feel like
Oh,
everyone
yeah.
has this story and they're like, I
I was
died three
terrified.
times and like I
Mhm.
came back the next day.
I was terrified, and I kept asking my brother, like, because I remember I did like on ramp, but they were like, "You clearly know what you're doing."
Right.
So they were like, "We're gonna shorten it, and you're good to go." And then I like came home, and I was like asking my brother, I was like, what if there's a movement and I don't know it?" And they're like, "They'll show you." And I was
Right.
like, "So if there's a kettlebell swing and I don't know a kettlebell swing, like, they're gonna show it to me, they're gonna show me." And I was terrified of the coach, which is so funny because he's the owner, and I ended up getting trained by him like later on.
Yeah.
But there was a day that me and my sisters would like, we would avoid his classes because we were so scared of him. And there was a day that there was back squats, and we didn't know our 1 rep max back squat. So we walk in and we were about to leave because we saw it was him. We're like, absolutely not. Like, we can't do this. He's too scary. And he sees us. And he's like, "Oh, what's up, like, Pullman girls?" And we're like, oh, he caught us. Okay. And so I had to go up and ask him. I'm like, I don't know my 1 rep max back squat. Is that okay? And he's like, that's totally fine. Like, we'll figure it out. And I was like, oh my gosh, thank God. I thought you were gonna kick me out. Like I I don't know what it was, but
Oh,
I was an athlete and I felt like that. So now that I'm a coach, like I carry that. I remember that. I
yep.
remember that fear that I had walking in, knowing I was already fit. So I can't imagine how scary it is for people that have never done a sport in their life or feel very out of shape or out of place. And so I kind of always use that as like, okay, if I was like in shape and I knew like fitness and I was that terrified, imagine how scared some of these people are that have never done anything. Um, but yeah.
I feel it. I when I first started, I mean, and a lot of people are similar. You have I had a very athletic background. Like as
Mhm.
far as like conditioning, I felt pretty conditioned.
Yeah.
But
It's
when you
so funny
walk
how it
in, it
humbles you.
just yeah, there's just you see things and you're like, wait a minute, like I don't do those things.
Yeah. Or I do it, but I don't do that like all that fast and that like
Right.
close together. Yeah.
And so yeah, you start getting in your own head about do I even belong here? Like, hold on a
Yeah.
second. But obviously it kind of, that shapes you into really where you're at today, just being able to walk in that gym. You're a
Yeah.
coach, Black
Yeah.
Sheep CrossFit.
Yeah.
You're on the grid, professional, United Grid League player.
Yeah.
What so walk me through that then. How do you go from just I'm a member of the gym through my Groupon, and now I'm a coach, and
Yeah.
then now I'm finding grid? Like, how does that, timeline flow?
So I found CrossFit right before I was going to college to play hockey. And then the owner of the gym found out and was like, I'm going to train you. And I was like, oh,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
And I brought him my like strength and conditioning book
Better
and it
have
was
your
like,
1 rep max back squat though.
yeah, yeah. We're going to start with 1 rep. No, so he grabs that book and I had like printed it out, made it all pretty. He took it, he chucked it across the room. He goes, you won't need that. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay. And there was a conditioning test that we had to do and multiple fitness tests that we had to do. Um, but my goal was like, I want to control everything that I can going into camp. So like, I want to be the fittest, strongest player on this team. Like, and I believe that I can be, but let me go in as prepared as possible. So
Right.
I trained with him in the summers. And then it was like the hardest training I've ever done in my entire life. It felt like it at the time. And it was with actually a lot of MMA fighters as well, which is like super funny looking back. But so we did that. And then I went to college. I crushed the conditioning. I crushed the strength. I was, records on all the boards. Um, and then I had actually made it my goal to get like NCAA strength and conditioning athlete of the year. That was like my long term goal. Um, so then in my sophomore year, I ended up getting my level 1 because I was like, I really like this. Like, this
Nice.
is something I want to do. So I got my level 1 and then I started shadowing. And I show up to shadow my first day, and it's that same owner, that coach. And he's like, all right, you're going to coach. And I was like, what? Like, what? And it was like the 5:30 class, which, if you know anything about CrossFit, like the
Yeah.
5:30 p.m. class is the biggest class. It's like squat cleans that day. So I'm like, all right, here we go. Like, breaking the movements down. And, it definitely put me on the spot, but it showed me that, like, it's amazing how much you can learn if you go to class and you actually listen and you just, like, are consistent. Um, because that's where I got a lot of my experience was just, like, showing up and listening. So then when college
It's a
ended,
lot different though to sit in on a level 1
yeah,
and then actually go from the listening
yeah,
to be thrown into a class and like
it was hard.
everyone's eyes on. I mean,
Yeah, but I forgot to mention I was a swim coach growing up, so that was like I coaching I swear is just like in my blood at this point. Um so like I was used to the coaching aspect and like the communication of that. I was just like not used to CrossFit coaching. And then that was where the level 1 and then he was so good at coaching you through a movement. Um and I'm very fortunate to have somebody that was so like a level 3 just like very good at
yeah.
communicating some of the most like high skilled movements. So yeah, I got thrown into it, got my level 1, and then when I graduated, I had studied business and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I just always knew I wanted to help people. I didn't know how. Prayed about it, just said I want to help people. I don't know how, just use me. I don't want to work in an office, but like whatever you say. And then COVID hit. So
Mm.
I was in grad school at the time, finishing up that, and I got the opportunity to work at a gym in Massachusetts. They were like, "We'll bring you on, salary, whatever," which the salary was not enough to live, but it got me to the next step. So it got me to Massachusetts, which was like, you know, a step in the right direction from Maryland. And that was where I started to get connected to certain people. And then I worked at a couple different gyms. I worked at Invictus. And then when I worked at Invictus Boston, I ended up working at Andover CrossFit Spark Fitness, which is where I met Colette, who had a friend, Rachel, who had done grid. And I just like threw it out there one day in the middle of quarterfinals, like, grid looks kind of cool. Like I feel like I could do it, but like I don't know. And she was like, "Do you want to do it?" And I was like, I don't think that's what I said. I think I'm just like interested." She goes, "I'll connect you with somebody," and I was like, "I don't know. Like I don't know that I'm good enough. I just like I feel like there's things I could do well." And then before you know it, I have a DM from Matt. Oh my gosh, what is Matt's last name? The Breakers coach. What is his last
Oh,
name?
Hornaday.
Yes, Matt Hornaday. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, Matt. And it's so funny to look back because I played so hard to get. It's not even funny. And
Well, what's funny to me is like you bring it to someone's attention, like
yeah,
with the possibility of them saying, "Well, I can connect you," and you're like,
yeah,
"Wait, no, 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 I'm good. I'm
yeah. I
good."
was like, I don't know about that. Yeah, because it's a big commitment. I was
Yeah,
like, it's in Florida. I'm a CrossFit coach for a living. Like that's a lot of travel. I don't understand how it all works, like, you know. And then before you know it, like 3 DMs later, I finally give Matt a call and we talk and he's like, he mentioned the ringer point. He said, "Yeah, there's this ringer point. Uh, it's a handstand walk into a clean and jerk." And I was like, "Oh, I bet I could win that." And he's like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, like I'm really like good on my hands and I can like power clean and push jerk a lot." He was like, "All right, well, test it and send it to me." And I was like, "Okay." And so that was literally the race that I was like, I want to do this sport because there's nothing like that in CrossFit. And I feel like I'd be really good at it.
yeah. Well, it's such, I was talking to Dan Jackson last week, coach of the
Yeah.
Wild, and
Yeah.
we're talking about like the evolution of grid, and it's become this. You can be very good at one thing and have
Yep.
a spot on a roster, and that's almost the way that you need it to work. And there's
Yeah.
a lot of other things. It's good to have some balance and to be an overall,
For sure.
utility person, but
For sure.
it is like becomes very specialized in a sense that there are going to be elements and races that only a handful of people on the teams can do. And I
Yeah.
think that's special. It opens up the sport to more people other than just
Yeah.
someone who can lift weights,
Yeah.
or
And
run.
yeah. And I think that's where I was like frustrated with CrossFit is I was like, I've always been strong. Like I can crush DT. I can crush certain workouts in CrossFit, but there's not a lot of places for me to shine other than like a certain type of max lift or certain barbell workouts. So it was exciting for me to be like, oh, this is like kind of cool. And it reminded me of hockey with like the changing.
Mhm.
And so I was like, I feel like I could like handle a lot. Like I feel like I could do a lot. So just let me know what you guys want me to do and I'll do it. And I basically told Matt, like, if I'm flying down there, like I want to be in every race.
Right.
Little did I know what that actually meant,
He
but
said, "Okay."
he said, you wanted it all, so here you go." Um,
So
yeah, so then
when was this? When was your first year in grid with the Breakers?
20 man, this was my 3rd year. So what was 3 years ago? 2023, 2022, something like that.
2022? Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
2022.
think so. Yeah, I think so because I moved to Florida in 2023, so 2022 would have been my first year.
So wow, you made a complete transition in the move to so like the Breakers. What was that experience like with them in the first season? Was it a lot of
Yeah.
like learning curve on your end, or was it just just trying to, like you said, you just listen and try to learn as much as you can.
I just showed up and lifted things.
Just tell me
I
what to
was
do.
such an airhead. I'm not even gonna lie. Like honestly, bless Rachel because I I was so lost on so many things. I still didn't. There's some roles I still don't really understand because I'm very like I'm like tell me what to do and I'll go do it. Like I just keep it simple. Like what do you need me to do this race? I take it one race at a time.
Yeah.
But I'm not joking. Like I did a lot in for the breakers, because one, because we needed it, but two, also because I was like forcing myself on it of like, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, because I'm the best at it. Like I was
Yeah.
just like I just am, and um, there was always like send videos, send this, and then once I started to kind of like figure out like where I was really good at things, um, that was when I realized like where I would shine best. Um, so yeah, so that first year was a lot of just like figuring it out, and then it was like, it'd be nice to like win a match, but I don't know enough about the sport to know what's wrong with like
Right.
the team dynamic with Matt coaching and owning. Like there's a lot. That's a lot of work for one person to coach, own. Like, and then we had assistant coaches, which Alex Ruggieri was the assistant coach, but he kind of focused more on the men.
Yeah.
But he's the reason that I ended up moving down here and like have a job here now. So that's
Well,
like wild. Yeah.
so what sparks the move down? You just wanted out of Massachusetts, like, or
Yeah.
was
I mean,
you knew you were gonna do this for long term, and so like you wanted to make it an easier transition?
I mean, I went to Massachusetts because that was like where my network was. So
Right.
like, I spent a lot of time in Massachusetts, like with college, and then built my network kind of out there. And I was like, this is the next step in the direction. I don't know where I want to end up, but I know that I need to move from Maryland, my hometown, to go and get other opportunities, meet other people. And then everybody on my team for grid was like, you're going to move to Florida. And I was like, no, I'm not, you guys. Like, I have a great living situation. I have a good job and I have health insurance. And
Yeah.
that's a big thing. And I was turning 26. And so they were like, what do you need to move down here? I was like, a job and health insurance, like, is the main thing. They're like, we can figure that out. They're like, well, Alex owns a gym. Like, you should talk to him. So Alex hit me up. And I was like low key scared of Alex because I didn't know him that well. And if you've ever seen a photo of him, like he's just covered in tattoos. He looks kind of scary. Um, but then I was like, let me just talk to this guy, figure out what he's about. And immediately, like, we just clicked and he was super nice. Um, and I just like started to get to know him better. And I would like
I
call
just
him.
think you have something against coaches. Like you're just afraid of coach. Like that UConn coach did a number on you. I mean, wow.
But it's funny because I'll be scared of them, but then I'll end up being like their best friend. And that's what happens. Like, but Alex does look very scary,
I,
in my
I,
opinion. I mean, he's not scary. He's nice, but like, um, that UConn coach did definitely, little trauma, a little bit.
just a little bit, just a little bit. So you make the
Yeah.
move. You obviously figure out a
Yeah, he offered
coaching
me a job.
situation and
Yep.
health insurance. So those are the two big ones. You got those. What was where were you living? Out of your car? Out of at the gym? Like
No, I ended up rooming with a girl from the Breakers. We ended up both
nice.
moving down. I had hit her up and been like, "Yo, you want to move to Florida?" And she was like, kind of like in a situation where she was trying to get like out of her hometown. Um, so yeah, so we moved in together, and then her and I lived together for about a year, I think, and then um, we kind of went our separate ways. And I ended up living by myself for a little bit, and my little sister ended up moving down. So now I live
Oh.
with my little sister, which is like a dream come true.
Do
Yeah.
you guys fight any? Like now that you're
To be
adults,
honest,
so to
like
speak, like
we growing up we shared a room, so like
oh
we're
Lord.
really used to being together like all the time.
Mhm.
We have like little like we're kind of like spouses. It's kind of funny. Like it's but honestly, like we have a very, very, very good relationship and um like they're like I'm just so grateful for her and like she supports me in ways that nobody else can support me and I support her in ways that nobody else can support her and it's it's good. Like it's honestly taught us a lot about like
Yeah.
living with somebody and like having a good relationship with them, because there's just like little things that can bother you, and if you don't have a way to like communicate that, then it can blow up. So
Yeah. I
yeah.
have I have 2 girls, and my hope is
Oh,
that they have a relationship like
just keep
that.
them really busy.
I I they keep me busy. I mean,
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
default, but yeah, I have my oldest, she does competitive dance, competitive
Nice.
gymnastics, and
Oh, let's go. That's awesome.
my second one will turn 2 tomorrow, so
Oh.
she's just running around like an animal, like,
Yeah,
she's just a savage, just
I'm sure. The second one
Luna
is, yeah,
lunatic, maniac, like, sh I
love
love
that.
her, but man, she's crazy. I
Yeah.
literally watched her put a blanket over her head and run as fast as she could. She even counted down. She was like, 3, 2, 1, and took off running across the room and ran right into a wall. Fell down, got up, thought it was funny, put the blanket back over her head, and did it again. I was like,
Oh my god.
you're
Get
just
that girl in hockey right away. Yep, she's
something,
gonna be a savage.
something, but,
Get her on the ice.
uh
Yeah.
so you wanna know what it's like to win. You don't know what the issue is, or even if there is an
Yeah.
issue, but so is that the reason you moved to the Sharks, is just something new? Like,
Yeah.
I don't
I
wanna bring up any, like, old any old, like,
For sure.
rumors and things out,
Yeah.
but, like,
Yeah, I
you
don't
know,
either.
what so, basically, we can leave it at this.
Yeah.
You made a decision that you felt was best for you, and,
Mhm,
like, people have to respect that and understand that, because people aren't you, and, like, if
mhm,
you're not happy or not comfortable, or you feel like, in most cases, it has nothing to do with happiness or comfort. It
for
has
sure.
everything to do with, like, I wanna maximize the best version of myself, and I
Yeah.
don't think I can do that here.
Yeah.
And it's not fair for anybody to say that you're a bad person for doing that. And I'm not saying you, but, like,
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
is the
I
stigma if people
totally
do that.
agree. Yeah. And honestly, like I was gonna just be done with grid. Like I felt like I had gotten a lot out of it and done a lot for the sport. I was like super close to getting like strength specialist of the year, and that was a goal of mine. Um, and I was like, I feel like I can't get that if I'm on like a team that never wins. And then one of my teammates got it, and I was like, well, that sucks. Like, I mean, I was happy for her because she very, very strong, like
Yeah.
earned it. No, no hard feelings there. But I was like, this kind of sucks. I feel like I'm not being used to the best of my ability. And grit is really hard on your body too.
Yeah.
And so I was actually going to be done with it. And then I had the like dreaded call of like, all right, I need to call Matt and I need to tell him like I'm probably done. And it was funny because we actually ended up talking for like an almost like an hour, and we had such a good conversation. And he was like, I want what's best for you. And he's like, I want to see you stay in the sport more than I want to see you stay on a team. And if it means that, you have two teams reaching out to you that are really good, um, you need to like you should look at that. And I was like, "Ugh, all right. Okay. All right." So finally hit up those other people and was like, okay, like let's have a call. And immediately the Sharks were so supportive. I let them know like, some concerns like, yeah, I live in Florida, but like CrossFit's my number one, and like, I'm training and that comes first, and these practices, I can't spend like another 12 hours in the gym on a weekend doing grid practice on top of all my other training when it's just like hurting me more because I'm in the
Right.
gym twice as much on the weekend than I am all week. And they're like, oh, we don't have practices. We just do video and we do a call. And I'm like, sign me up. I'm in.
Sold.
But they were, and I said like I felt a little bit like I don't want to say like not seen, because I do think that my ability is seen and valued, but I felt just misplaced, and I was like I can bring a lot of value to a team just as a good teammate and just as in the weird things that I'm really good at. Like I can cycle 205 faster than anybody else. I can cycle 210 push like clean and push jerks. Like it's kind of crazy. I don't really know how I do it, but um and they were like, we're gonna bring you on and we will take care of you and we'll listen to you of like, we're going to put you in at like the stuff that you are the best at. And then if there's stuff like you don't need to do extra stuff. And I was like, I was kind of okay with it at this point. I was like, I don't have the time to be doing all these videos, doing all this extra stuff with CrossFit training. So like, if you can respect that and we can get along with that, great. And that's basically what clicked for me.
Now, did you find yourself like as season and practice moves on, do you find yourself, oh, like I'm actually doing more than what we originally said I was going to do, or
No.
whatever they said was this is what you stayed true to?
No, that's what I say true to, because the girls are awesome. Like we're all so competitive, but in a healthy way. And it's like send the video. If you're the fastest, you do it. Like we want the best person out there. There were moments where I was on the grid where I was like, oh, I probably could have humped a little bit more there, or oh, I could have humped there more. But again, like you know, CrossFit is hard in a sense of like you have so many online competitions plus in person. So like there was a stretch where it was like Vegas, and then I was doing like a qualifier basically every single week up until championship. And so it was like I just didn't have the time to do more than what I had promised. And then we kind of saved me for the championship match, to be honest, because they were like, we're gonna need you a lot here to do
Yeah.
XYZ. And they could count on me to just like to do a lot. And that was what I said. I was like, if you need me to do a lot, I can do a lot. But if you need me to do 3 things, I can do 3 things. Just let me know how I can help the team, and that's what I'm gonna do.
So let's talk about that.
Yeah,
Last season, obviously, you run the gauntlet through regular season. You have a great regular season, and you end up the number one seed going into the playoffs. You get
tore it
a
up.
I mean, you get a brigade team, and they've had some tradition of winning in the past. They come in,
Yeah.
and it's kind of this back and forth battle, and you get to the sprint relay, which for those listening, it's the very last race of the match, and really that's what it comes down to. Winner wins and loser doesn't, and you guys end up taking care of business, and you move on.
Yep.
Um, what is you know, are you satisfied knowing that you're in the championship, or is it still like, hey guys, we still got work to do? Because I'm always curious, like, in grid, like how long, especially when usually you got weeks in between matches. And so like you can kind of be satisfied on the performance. But in this case, like you have to turn around and go right into a championship match the next day. So how long do you appreciate the fact that, man, we're in the championship before you're like, we got work to do?
I'm gonna be completely honest with you. That was our goal, was to get to the champ. Our goal was to win the championship,
Mhm.
and we knew we had the ability to do it. So we weren't satisfied until we won the championship, which is why I'm back another season, basically. Like and that's a winning team mentality of like, and that is across the board. It is expected, and if you do not have the same expectation of yourself, you don't get to be on the team, and and that's that. So, um, and I've been on good teams before, but like to lose the championship, I think a couple of things fell apart at the championship match. We can talk about that if you want to, but
Oh yeah,
I
we
don't know.
we
I'm not
gon-
the
we
coach,
gonna
so
talk
like,
about that.
um, but you know, we full on expected to go undefeated. We full on expected to get to the championship, and we were expecting to win the match. It was kind of weird some of the things that happened, I will say, but um, yeah, I mean, no, honestly we weren't satisfied because we wanted to win and we should have won, but we
All
didn't.
right.
We didn't finish the
So
job. So
let's get into it. The championship match. I don't To me, as a viewer,
uh-huh.
I never thought that you guys really got your footing in the match. Like, I
Mhm.
feel like you were kind of like behind the gun, like the entire way, and like you would get close, and there are things that could have happened where
Little things.
it
Yeah.
could have propelled you, but it just didn't work out. It was almost like some people don't believe in stuff like this, but it's almost like you needed to feel this to be motivated this season,
Mhm.
for 2025, and like I put whatever you want into that.
Yeah.
I don't even know how much I believe in that because you guys were really good. Like you
Yeah.
deserve to be there, and it's really a coin flip or a toss up between you guys and the Wild when it comes to that. They
Uh-huh.
were just the better team that day. When you look back on it, where is there anything that you could have done differently? Is it just how it was? The was there things that the team could have done differently? Because some people will say, "Well, we did all these things in the regular season, and when we got here, there's a couple things that we never did wrong that fell apart."
Mhm.
But from your
Yeah.
perspective,
Yeah,
being
like
out
little
there, what
little
what
things.
happened?
Yeah. Like the what's it called? Oh my gosh. The transitions on um mirror. Transitions on other things. There was a weird moment where they didn't they like didn't do a race.
Yeah,
And I don't think that's okay. I think that's like kind of lame. I understand what happened.
yeah,
I just don't think that in a championship match you can just like not do a race. Like that's kind of weird to me, but or at least like there should be a minimum work requirement. But again, the sport's still growing.
right.
It's just to me, it's like if I was the championship team and we just didn't do a race, I'd be like the job's not done. Like why would we just like we should at least do the first part, you know? Um so that was
From
like definitely weird to me, but
Yeah,
um
I go back and forth on this, all right?
yeah.
So, if I have 2 different roles, if I'm a player on that team, the competitiveness in me will not allow me to be okay with not
Right.
doing a race.
Right.
From a coaching standpoint, my job is to put my
Protection players,
players
yeah.
in a situation where they're going to have the most likelihood for success.
Yep.
And as much as it sucks, like by doing that, gave them the most likelihood for success. So I can see that, but as
Yeah,
a
for sure.
player, like I definitely would not be okay with
Yeah.
that. So I see
It
where you're
was
coming
it
from.
was funny because I was just like messing with them at one point because we had to like do a rerun of a part of a race. I said,
Mhm.
"Oh, you guys probably aren't even tired. You just skipped the whole race, so you get extra rest." And I don't
True.
even chirp, but I was like, I'm totally joking. Like it, like so, and that's not on them. Like that was
Yeah,
smart. That was a smart move. They can do that. Like take advantage of that and do it.
yeah.
Um, But I actually tore my shoulder in the ringer point.
Mm,
So I did the whole match with a torn shoulder, and I didn't know until Tuesday. But it was funny because my coach told me we didn't know who was going to do it, but they were like, "We need somebody to do this ringer point um, against somebody we think they're." I thought it was going to be Amanda Fisher. I thought it was going to be the girl.
uh-huh.
Um, and then they were like, "Yeah, nobody else on the team can do it fast enough that we could get a point because the goal was either get a point
Right.
or or just like kind of send whoever's like freshest in. And he kept asking like, can you do this, can you do this, can you do this, can anyone push jerk 210? And everyone's like, I'd have to reset. And I was like, well, I'm already doing a lot, but why not? And it was between me and one of the guys on my team, but he was also doing a lot in that match. And I was like, you know what, I can handle it, like it's fine. So I surprised myself because I've never done that before. So I did lose the race to the bar because I was like thinking so
Mm,
hard about 210, and then I actually moved it faster than him if you look at the video, but
yeah.
he's actually the strongest, like one of the strongest guys in CrossFit. So that was cool for me because I was like, I want to go against the best, and like I love when I get to go against the best at something. Um, but yeah, I tore my shoulder. Like I literally went down and it was like I got a strain here. And then when I went up, I tore my labrum.
Not
And then
good.
I just had to do the rest of the match. And I was like, oh, it's fine.
Yeah, we'll deal with it in a couple hours. No, like,
And my other shoulder was actually taped up. So yeah.
oh look, I mean,
Yeah.
you're just falling apart.
That's great
You
though.
know,
That's great.
I'm telling you, that's what's unique about grid. The sport of grid is
Yeah.
And what other sport would you get male versus female and it's equitable? Like
Yeah.
it's equitable.
Yeah.
And
Do you think that was equitable though?
I
300
mean,
and 210. Do you think that's equitable?
I'm not
I
here to
like the
say
100-pound rule.
I mean,
No, I don't know, but
we're talking about I mean
it's crazy
it
how like I was like, and if any other girl in grid can do this, like I'll be shocked because I like would see other girls move the weight at like 210 and they're pausing on their shoulder and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I kind of wish I got to go against another girl. I feel like that would have been cool." Like Amanda's
yeah.
super strong. So I was like, actually I kind of really wanted to go against Amanda, but I mean, obviously she's good, but I don't know.
It's all
But I agree
like
with you. It is cool to go against a guy.
yeah, it's relative to the athlete. So it's hard to say like what weight is the most appropriate weight in a scenario
Yeah.
like that because I mean if they put 155 out there like you're going to
Oh,
just
that's not enough.
destroy that.
Yeah.
Right. But
Yeah.
if they put even if they put 185 out there like you're probably going to destroy that too. So like
Right. That's not, yeah, that wouldn't be even. But
yeah, I think like it's just getting into the weeds of like well what there because there's a fine line between heavy and too heavy. And
it was too
you
heavy.
you wanna get close to that line, but you don't wanna flirt with it
Yeah.
too much because then it takes away from the aesthetic of what you're trying to achieve.
Right.
It's like in CrossFit when they put together what was it, a few years ago when they had a what was it, pegboard for the first time, and
Yeah.
people couldn't do it
Yeah.
because,
That's a good point. That's a good point.
and
Yeah.
and the way that the event was set up, it could have been aesthetically very pleasing for the fan and very intense and competitive, but because people couldn't do it because it was such a new thing, like it just didn't play out the way that it should. And I don't think you want to see that,
No.
especially in a growing sport. Because, but now, however, the one thing that that does lead to is everybody can do pegboard now. So like
Yeah.
it kind of like
Yeah.
forces people's hands. But
Yeah. Yeah. I
I
hope I hope more girls like I hope that they would like throw a girl on that ringer and see girls move the weight like
oh
that.
yeah,
Um but it like because the championship match, the ringers reset. So like I already did my ringer for like the season and then it was like, all right, who can do this? And that was the one that they had picked. So
right.
they kind of have the advantage. But you know what? I got the team the point, so I was like, I did it. I tore my shoulder, but I did it.
Did your job.
Yeah, so that was a win
So
for me.
so you come up short. Do
Yep.
you think about that at all? Is it motivating to you, or have you moved past it because now we're a month and a day away from 2025 and you're like I have to get past that and I have to focus on now, or is that still like eating at you a little bit?
I'm not gonna lie, when the match ended, I literally turned to my sister and I was like, I'm retired. Like, because my shoulders were hurting so bad. And because I kept saying, I was like, I'm done after this. Like, I'm done. And then I think my coaches knew to just kind of like give me some time.
Yeah.
Uh, and then, because I was actually at that point, I was like, Wadapalooza's coming up. So I was like back to CrossFit mode. Um, but it stung. Like I said, like we expected so much, and then to have a match like to end the season just on a bad match like that, like we all were like, that's not. We should have done so much better. Like there's so many little things that we could have done better, and to just fall short, really like just kind of stings. So yeah, me personally, I look back at that match and I'm mad at myself for not winning that ringer. I'm mad about like certain things that I could have done better. Um, but it is a team sport and there were moments where we fell short as a team and that's why we're coming back this year and look out.
Hey,
Yeah.
you're ready to get after it. What
Yeah.
so when you go into the off season, obviously there's a lot of CrossFit on your mind, but when you switch gears for grid, like what are you working on for this season? Anything like to me,
Running.
like well, it's like, well, when you're X strong and you look at the event or the elements and the races, it's like, well, outside of speed, like, do you really work on anything? I mean, technique is like something that you're constantly working on, I would assume, with CrossFit and like running, but the running, like, really in grid is very minimal, you know?
No, me personally, I'm working on running and
Okay.
burpees always.
Right.
Um,
Not a
that's
fan of burpees, huh?
they're not a fan of me. I think, yeah.
Touche.
No.
Touche.
If you
Um,
ever see me doing burpees in grid, something's really wrong because I'm not fast at them. So something's wrong. But
so
um
burpee to backflip is not your thing, is what you're saying.
no,
Oh, okay.
no. I mean, I could maybe do the backflips, but at the burpee, I'm just not fast at them. Like I'm tall, but I'm not as tall as everyone thinks I am. I'm just super long. Uh but
Not
uh
conducive for burpees.
no. I'm not built to burpee. I'm built to power clean for sure. Um but yeah, no, for me, I mean, I train so hard in CrossFit that like it translates over so much into grid. The most I'll do is like I'll practice some like heavy barbell cycling here and there, but I think that's actually one of the things that's like tough for me is like everything in grid is like that I do in grid is like everything that I don't necessarily need to be putting my time into for CrossFit. So that's always really tough.
Right.
Um, but as long as I always just tell them, I'm like, just let me know what you need me to do, and I'll show up and I'll do my job. And they respect that. And if they need video, I get them video. Um, but it's mostly just like once I know what they need from me, I can, I send them video or I, practice a couple of things here and there. But I I'm very confident in my ability with the barbell and handstand walking that I do it enough in my training with CrossFit that I don't necessarily do like specific crit stuff other than like a couple of things just to practice. So,
Gotcha. So one last thing before you get
yep.
out of here. All right.
Okay.
May 24th,
Yep.
Miami Fit Expo, Miami International Exposition Center.
Mhm.
There's a lot there's a lot of storylines. I could take you through them all, but the biggest is obviously there's a rematch between the Sharks and the Wild from last year's championship, kicking off week 1 of United Grid League action.
Yep.
Um, let's fast forward and say you guys win a championship in 2025. What's the one thing that created that or made that happen? Was it anything to do with roster moves and right people, or is it solely something like you guys are focusing on now to get better at, and that was the thing?
I think it's just everyone does their job. If you do your job to the best of your ability and you're the best at doing your job, then we win. And that's what it comes down to is everybody has to do the little things right, which is the transitions. Um, one of the things that we're really good at is we don't just have a plan A, we have a plan B. So when plan A falls, short and something happens in the middle of a race, we have the plan B already ready to go. So as long as everyone's ready and does their job, like nobody can beat that. Um, like that was honestly what impressed me the most about this team was like we have each other's backs better than any other team I've ever been on. Like it was wild just how much we really did. And that championship match, I think we were just some of us were tired. Not me because I didn't do much in the first match. They saved me for the championship one, but I think some of our other players were just tired because it's playoffs. You're playing super hard. There's a lot of reruns.
Yeah.
Um, but it comes down to just the strategy of like, our coach knows what to do. And if we have the best people doing their job and we do the job right, then we win.
Hey, well said. Well said. It's just focus on your role, do your part. If
Yep.
everybody does that, the end product will be pretty special. So,
Yep.
Jessi, I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you taking the time. Obviously, super busy training, coaching, just life in general.
Life.
Um, drinking coffee. You did have a podcast, a coffee, coffee with Kuhlman. Like, what happened to that? Like,
I still have it.
what?
Um, yeah, me and my little sister are doing a podcast because Just like a lot of things that we dealt with in college and the transition mostly out of college. Like you kind of go through a little bit of an identity crisis when you've been an athlete your whole life.
Yep.
And then that sport's gone. So Coffee with Kuhlman is now with her. We just sit down, we just have a conversation about, um, a lot of those topics that don't really get talked about, and just like things like all the advice that we wish somebody would have given us when we were getting recruited and being told like we don't have potential, or playing time, getting out of college, and that identity struggle, and how to kind of find like health and wellness versus like training for a sport. So yeah, stay tuned. Coffee with Coleman, where next episode comes out soon. So I'm excited.
Ooh, let's go. I'll have
Yeah.
my coffee and I'll be ready.
Perfect. Perfect.
Anything you want to plug or promote? I know season's coming up, probably got sponsors. Anything you want to shout out now before you bounce?
Renewed Performance, my sponsor that got my shoulder back.
Got it back.
Thanks to them. My coach at Black Sheep Training, Alex Ruggieri, just getting me real fit, keeping me strong. And yeah, that's it, I think.
That's it. I mean, it takes a
Yeah.
village to keep you prepped and ready for the 2025 season.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it definitely
Jessie,
does.
I appreciate the time. If you ever want to come back, just
Thanks.
reach out. Love to have you.
Awesome.
Definitely
Thanks
a
for
lot
having
more
me.
that yeah, of course. Well, we could unpack, a lot with
There's a
with
lot to talk about with me,
your
I feel
journey.
like.
But we'll save it for another time. I
Yep.
appreciate it. If there's anything I can do for you along the way, just reach out.
Thank you. You as well.
That
Let me know.
Yep, you got it. That is Jessi Kuhlman, everybody of the Southwest Florida Sharks. If you like hearing Jessie's story, or you just like hearing Average Joe's talk X's and O's, please like, share the podcast on Facebook. You can go to YouTube, like, subscribe, notifications. That way you're first to get new content when it is dropped, because we're dropping content every single day. College baseball, college gymnastics, professional baseball, grid league, you name it, we got it. Just go. Like there's plenty. It's a library. It's like the Library of Congress. It's got stuff for everybody. But more importantly, we will be back next week. We got some good ones coming up next week. We're going to be doing a lot of Tampa Bay Brigade next week. Jocelyn Williams, Marissa Oxenford, and then we got another one from the Sharks, Kristen Bonito. So y'all stay tuned to those episodes. Appreciate y'all. As always, remember, strong body, sharp minds, grit and grind all the time. We are out.